Well, hello, accounting students. Here we are in Module 6. We've got 2 weeks to go. I'm shooting this on Monday. In this video, I want to talk a little bit about talk a little bit about Module 6, a few changes to the course that you'll see over the next 2 weeks to your favor. So don't get, I guess too worried about it. It's going to always be to your favor if I change anything in the course. And talk a little bit about the quiz that we had way back in Module 5. All right, so with that, let's jump into the course and take a look around. So this week, Module 6, again, our due dates for our basic assignments will be due at the end of this week on Sunday. As promised, I said there would be a couple of extra credit opportunities. With that being said, some of you have been awarded extra credit for work above and beyond. There were some absolutely amazing learning activities where you folks, some of you just went way above and beyond, which was amazing. I've rarely seen that in this course, but it was been pretty consistent with almost every week, with some folks really going to amazing lengths on some of these things. So I know we only have 2 weeks left, but in this course, learning activities, if we're doing more of that essay, 2 pages is all I need. I don't need 5. That's great. But there were many of you who were doing 5 pages or more, and yeah, kind of felt a little bad. But in the instructions, it says, 2 pages. Again, you can exceed it if you want, but then again, there was such great writing, and depth of the topic was great. So some of you were awarded extra credit there. But if you were just doing your job, I guess in a way, and just getting perfect scores on everything as you go, you still have some extra credit opportunities. And I have promised you 2 extra credit opportunities before the end of the course. So here they are. This week, okay, I am going to turn the learning activity into extra credit. So feel free to do that if you feel you need it, okay? So again, the learning activity for this week, you don't have to do it if you don't want to do it. Right there, learning activity number 6. If you don't want to do it, you don't have to. I guess take a little break this week, or spend a little more time on the case study. I'll talk about that in a second. Do whatever you like, okay? With extra credit, I do have a due date of the 27th on there, just to keep things, I guess, somewhat consistent with at the end of the week. You can turn in any of the two extra credit assignments I'm going to be talking about here in just a moment. You can turn in any of the 2 extra credit assignments up into the last day of the course. Okay, you have up until the last day of the course to do that. Okay. All right, so if I am turning a learning activity into extra credit, how does that affect the overall point total for the course? Okay, right now the course is based off of 1,000 points. I'm going to adjust that. So the course is going to be based off of what, 965 points. So if you did everything perfect all the way through, 965 is that maximum A that you can earn. Then you could percentage break, do some math. I'm not going to do it in my head right now, but we'll percentage break that down from A to B and B to C. Very rare that students get a C in the course, but I beat that to death about why students get a C. So we've got, we're going to lower the course point total in exchange for throwing 35 extra credit points on the course, because I'm pulling a regular assignment out. Okay. We have our normal module. We have a normal quiz. This one a little bit different than you've had one like this before, but there's not going to be like the multiple choice click buttons. This one, I believe, is going to be more narrative style. So be aware there. And the case study. So the case study is due in 2 weeks at the end of the course. We're going to end the course on Sunday, July 4th. You can turn in your assignments anytime you want. Pardon me while I get a drink. or I should say, you can turn in your assignments in the final week of the course. When we get to module 7, if you're taking the 4th off, you can take them in on the 3rd. I don't care. All right, so we've got the case study. That'll be due at the end of the course. Case study 2, please make sure you read the instructions. You're only required to pick 2 of the questions and answer them, okay? And answer them in 1 or more full paragraphs. I don't need a full page, okay, for each one. Couple paragraphs. I mean, this whole assignment might be a page and a half, maybe 2 max. Maybe 2 max. That's what I would look at. So pick 2 of these 4 questions that you like, and make sure you answer those in full paragraphs. So, all right. So we got that going on. Let's remove my picture here and go back to the modules. All right. So we have really just one deliverable for this week, and that is the quiz. Okay, but don't let that fool you. Spend some time, work the case study, or knock out that extra credit if you think you need those extra 35 points. Looking towards finishing the class. So your second extra credit assignment will be in Module 7. You'll pick a couple of core values and relate them to accounting. You can obviously take a look at that. Actually, I've had somebody already complete it and submit that extra credit. But take a look at that. If you need it, there's that second extra credit. And then we'll have a final exam. Let me give you a quick preview of the final exam, because I think you may like this. So this has proven pretty popular. It's the design your own final. So from here, again, this week is a little bit light. Technically, you just have 1 quiz that you need to turn in this week. If you want, you can start cranking on this design your own final. You can choose 25 of the questions below out of 50. So pick the ones that resonate with you, the ones that are easiest to answer for you. Open book, open note. Just make sure it's in your own words. Design your own final. The only way you're not going to get an A on it is if you don't do the 25 questions, you don't answer them, which are relatively easy to answer with a little bit of research, your book, the internet, what have you, and make sure your own words. So that it's totally in your hands whether you want to get the full points on this final exam. So there's a little look-see on our final week with the final exam, design your own final. I would recommend you start cranking on that, knock a few out this week. So next week, you're not so overwhelmed. All right, so lastly, before I end this here, before we get to the 10-minute mark, readings and presentations. So this week, coming back to this week, there was a lot of questions, or shouldn't again, not a lot, but when I have 4 students email me or text me about a certain thing, that to me seems like a lot. And they all focused in on that quiz in Module 4. Like, wow, it kind of blew them away about, break-even analysis, variable costing, contribution margin. So in this video this week, your presentation is just a walkthrough of the solutions to those popular or most in demand Module 4 questions from that quiz. So look through that. Will these things come back? That's where is it going to be on the final? Well, I've just shown you the final. It's design your own final. And as you can see there, it was mostly definitions, actually kind of all definitions and concepts. So if you felt like, oh my gosh, I completely destroyed break-even analysis, I wasn't even close from a mathematical perspective, these, they're not going to come back in the rest of the course. Do I want you to know what break-even is? Absolutely. From a conceptual standpoint, I want you to know what it is. I think you guys have that. It's just the math part can be a little tricky. But you're going to hear break even all the way through your career. And now you hopefully kind of know what it really means, to break even. Whether you can whip a calculator out and figure it out, it's great if you can, or at least you can remember, like, hey, I remember that course that was incredibly boring that I took years ago, but there was an actual formula that wasn't too terrible to understand. And you can look it up, recall it, and impress your friends and neighbors and your colleagues that you have a pretty good understanding of break-even analysis. But I don't think that's not gonna come back to haunt us. And I'm trying to think if it's in the case study at all. Again, I think you could pick two questions out of that case study, and I don't remember. I don't think one of them is break even. So I don't think it's going to come back to haunt us. But I do want you guys to know how to do it. Nuts and bolts. Again, there was a lot of interest in finding out how to do it, nuts and bolts. The textbook has a nice little cheat sheet in there, but that can sometimes fall a little short. So by popular demand, boom, there you find it in the course. Feel free to review that. All right, guys, that is pretty much it for this week. Again, if you have any questions or issues, let me know. I think things are going pretty smooth. As far as everything I see on this end, assignments are coming in from the weekend. I think everything's pretty much in for you guys when I checked this morning. The one thing just to remind you of, as in our final 2 weeks, late work, I do accept late work. There is a small deduction on points. The biggest contributor to a lower grade is missing assignments. So if you see a 1, a single point in something in your grade book, that's me just putting a placeholder in there to say, hey, turn this in. If you want to, turn it in. I'll grade it. You'll get some points for it, and it's better than a 0. So, there you go. So don't wonder like, oh, geez. And let's say if you have a couple of assignments that are still floating out there, obviously be strategic. Pick if you got a big 40-point assignment that's missing, that is 40 points is roughly, give or take, give a few more points, but it's almost half a letter grade. Okay. If you think of it this way, 100 points is a letter grade. Okay, so, and remember, we've kind of reduced the overall point total of the course. So that mathematically, it's going to be a smidge less than that. I don't know, maybe 96 points will be for each letter grade. So yeah, roughly though, 40 points is, that can be hard to swallow. So if you got any of those bigger assignments out there that are missing, I encourage you to complete those so everybody can walk away with an A this semester, or at least a nice solid B. So, all right, guys, that's pretty much for this week. Sorry for going so long. Let me know if you have any questions. Everybody have a fantastic week. Thanks.